UK. So, have a listen to some Whittle Waffle. Just a little bit of Whittle Waffle. Have a listen to some Whittle Waffle now. Everybody go. Have a little bit of Whittle Waffle. Just a little bit of Whittle Waffle. You're listening to Whittle Waffle now. So enjoy.
Well, hello. It looks like we're doing this again. Maybe I'll get into some sort of rhythm and do it regularly and stick at it, which should be interesting, wouldn't it? Who knows? So welcome to Whittle Waffle. I'm Stacey Whittle. Today I'm going to be talking quite a bit about magazine 444, I think. I'm just making sure I've got it there ready. Yes. I'm also going to be talking about other things that I've been reading, listening to, watching. I've got one big buy that I'm wanting to share with you. Some knitting and a tiny bit of sewing if I get time at the end, but I don't want to be keeping you all day. You can sign off at the end, but if you're not interested in knitting and sewing anyway, so it's not, you can sign off at any point. Okay. Anyway, let's get talking about this magazine. So this is the first magazine. My ears keep wanting to pop out of my turban, which is driving me mad. Have a good turban. This is the first magazine that I've read in about 3.5 years, I think. I went and had a baby, right? And it turns out when you're 40 and you have a baby, it's extraordinarily tiring. And you don't have a lot left over for anything, especially if that baby chooses not to sleep ever. So, you hear heavy thud and the cat's just come in. So the magazine has been put to one side for that time, and as the first one I've picked up, again inspired by Lawless. So number one, I have to say I really enjoyed it. It was really nice. Felt like coming home a bit. But let's go through it like I used to. Let's do a little tiny synopsis for each thing and talk through and see how it goes. So the first thing I should mention is the cover, which is a really lovely Dredd cover. I tell you what, it's fiddly reading it on a tablet. Like, it's easier to read it in print, never mind sharing it, and then you're going to just get my ring light. But here's the cover, which is by Andy Clark. Yeah, and it's a lovely Dredd. Well, like a big gun. So, the first strip in this magazine is the Dredd. It's called, excuse me looking down my notes, but Judge Dredd Utopia. It is by Arthur Wyatt, Ian Richardson, Gary Caldwell and Annie Parkhouse. So I did very briefly get to meet Ian Richardson at Lawless, but this is the first time I've seen his artwork in 2008, just me, that I can remember. Everybody else is very familiar to us, so that's nice to see lots of familiar names. So bear in mind that this is part, there's obviously been a previous part to this. I don't know if this is part one or whatever, I don't know. But there's obviously been a previous part to this story. This is what I picked up, so I might be wrong. I might have gotten things a little bit mixed up, but this is what I took from it. Apparently the remains of Atlantis pose a deadly threat. Because of course they fucking do. I've seen the Disney cartoon. I know what's going down. Anyway, we begin this part of the story with the island of Coco Cabana. I fucking love that. And Lola, the monkey showgirl. Oh my goodness. Yes, I love that. Jeez. It's been taken over by Mega City 1. There's a mention of a Red Queen, which I found very intriguing, but I don't know what that relates to. Obviously, if you've been reading the Meg whole time, you probably know. And then, so that's sort of a beginning part of the story, and then the bulk of the story is Dredd is in Atlantis on a mission to destroy... words beginning with Q. Quaganon, which is some sort of a tech weapon. It's some sort of Skynet thing, I think. I'm not quite sure. Or some sort of rogue software. Anyway, they're out to destroy it. It's bad news. There's a 4-person crew. Each one's picked off one at a time as the story goes through until Dredd is the only one left, completes the mission, gets out of there to find nobody's come to get him, and he's just there on the bottom of the ocean on his own. So I think that's what happened. So yes, I love the Coco Cabana and Lola. I love that. I found it pretty easy to follow. I think that's if I've got it right. So I didn't feel completely out there. The nods to needing to know something in the past were intriguing more than off-putting. I absolutely fucking love the artwork. It's absolutely beautiful. I really, really like it a lot. I was going to find a panel that I really liked. There's like a zombie thing going on. Zombie's not my favourite, but I'm a massive big scaredy cat. Massive. And zombies are my particular issue. I have issues. Big issues. Not the big issue, but anyway, yes. I love this panel, which is like got the credit boxes over, so I don't know if how easy it is to say. Nah, you can't see that. Anyway, it's beautiful. I really like the artwork. I really like the colours. It's just absolutely lovely. So yes, I think that was quite accessible and quite easy, and I enjoyed it. So that was the first one. The next one, I can't quite say the same about. This is Death Cap. It's a part 6, so you know. And this is Tom Eglinton or T.C. Eglinton, Bill Cook and Simon Boland. And what I've written is, some creatures / muties have a prisoner. They take her to a giant honey fungus, which looks like it's absorbing her. And they tell her that it will save the cursed earth, or cursed earth, whichever you prefer, and she will help. That's what I think happened. There's something so, I don't know, tank girly about this. Oh God, I'm going to have to get a print copy. This is shite, isn't it? Shite. Something really tank girly about that, I thought, that opening panel. It's beautiful. But it's Bill Cook art, so it's bound to be beautiful. I love this. So across the top of each page is a series of tiny little panels, which have sort of like a drop falling and splashing going across the top of the page, and then a mushroom or a fungus or a toadstool or whatever growing very slowly up, and then again the top of the next page, the splash panel going, and then some, it looks like ants crawling along the top. All of the background art and all of the birds and the flora and the fauna and the scorpions and the herons are just so beautiful that you just want to that is the good thing about digital, is that you can make it bigger and you want to go in and have a good old look, and oh God, look at that. That's amazing. This one looks, oh, you can't see, don't do it, I'm so sorry, that's my cat. Oi man, dickhead. It looks like the worms from Dune, or that one from Stranger Things. Oh, he's fucking getting on the table now. This is all going to end in disaster. I mean, it's already gone quite disastrous, but we're going on. Anyway, it's absolutely beautiful artwork. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, and nor can I be expected to at a part 6, but I followed it perfectly well. And like I say, the artwork is so lovely. You just want to zoom in and look at it more. So that's intriguing. Next up we have Diamond Dogs, volume 3, part 6, I think. This is what I've written down. Oh wait, credits. James Peaty, Warren Police Art, and Simon Boland letters. I've written, 2 men have been taken prisoner. I suspect they're Irish, of Irish descent. 2 women rescue them. They're not happy with them. They go to the pub. Armitage. Now I am familiar with Armitage. I'm sure I'm fucking familiar with Armitage. The name sounds familiar. is attacked at his office, but no real threat sorts that out. So that's what happened. Again, this is a part 6, so it was easy reading. I could read it, I vaguely understand what happened, I'm just not entirely sure why. The artwork is really nice. It's clean. It's very good storytelling. It's very easy to follow. Yeah, I feel just a little bit nothing like I think it's too far in for us to be really excited about it, but I didn't dislike it, so I'm just kind of on the fence a little bit about it. I enjoyed it. That's all really I can say. Next up we have the a really lovely and quite long obituary for the wonderful artist Gary Leach, who died a short while ago. So I'm not going to go in there. That's something you have to read for yourself. I'm not going to take that apart in any way, shape or form. It's really nice. My big ginger pussy is causing problems. Not for the first time. I don't guarantee, not for the last. Next up is an interview with the artist. Please ignore my cat. Tazio Bettin. And this is a big problem with reading it online. That where the line is, so you've got no M-O-R-E heroes. So obviously it should be on the double page, but it's not, and so that is irritating. But yeah, that's quite interesting. That's written by Carl Stock. The next is a review also by Carl Stock, or maybe it's not even a review, just an introduction to the new art book that 2000 AD have got coming out, which is the 45th anniversary special art book. I've seen some of the pages, they've been putting some of them up, and they do all look lovely. So that came out on the 25th of May. It's available from the shop if you are interested, and I'm sure you are. I am too, but we'll get to something. I did another purchase this month, so that'll have to wait. And then next up we've got Lawless. So this is Dan Abnett. You're a dick. I'm so sorry. Dan Abnett, Phil Winslade, and Mara Jim Campbell on letters. So this is what I've written about this one. Meta has lost her job, but she's spending all of her time drunk in her friend Beth's bar. And Beth offers her his job as a bouncer to tide her over. I'm going to kill him. He's just ran into a wall now. I can't even get to him. He's under the fucking table. Oh, Christ. Offers her his job as a bouncer to tide her over. Elsewhere, thugs, for want of a better term, are blackmailing the mayor. Right, that's it. Wait there. I got him. Shit, he's gone. Right, so thugs are blackmailing the mayor into doing whatever they want. And then a kid, Archibald, I think, who sees all the bad men in town, asks Meta to help. She dons a kick-ass superhero costume, complete with masks, and prepares to kick ass. So obviously lots happened since last time I read this, but totally, yeah, something's gone wrong. She's lost her job. She's not the sheriff or the other, whatever term it is that you're using. They've got this lovely full-on Western bar feel going on in there with the fantastic costumes, with the speech, with everything. It just feels really authentic. It's fantastic. The artwork is just next level. It is so beautiful. And it's, for being really busy artwork, there's something going on in almost every part of every panel, that when there is some white space, like this beautiful panel, and I don't even want to spoil it by trying to show it to you on my phone, where Meta's smacking some dude in the face and there's loads of white space around it, and it just makes it more impactful because of the busyness of the other panels. It's just absolutely glorious. You just want to take some time and stare at that, because in that panel, and it's got two little panels covering part of it as well, you've got all these rippling muscles and biceps of the thug who she's hitting. You've got her hair whiplashing around the place. You've got like the most beautiful thighs coming down the side, but her legs are in motion because she's just hit some. There's just motion, beautiful motion, and rippling in gorgeousness. It's just beautiful, and you want to look at it. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg in this. Just like you want to stare at her, you want to stare at every panel. There's a panel where our friend is soaking her with a hose to try and sober her up, and that is spectacular. Interestingly, for a very, very beautiful, sexy character, the bit where they've got her stark naked, shivering, kind of pathetic, they really haven't made that sexy, and that's interesting and the correct choice, because if you're drunk or hungover and you've just got a soaking and you're freezing in your bad place, then you shouldn't be a sexual being. And that's interesting, and I really, really like that. As opposed to when you go further down, when she's done the superhero outfit, she's got a cloak, she's got a hood, she's got a black mask, and she's got some sort of utility belt. It's just stunning. It's absolutely beautiful, and that is sexy. She is sexy, and it's glorious. Again, you want to zoom in. You want to look at every part of this panel. I want to look at the little cross hatching that is the sky in that panel. It is. I'm going to sound a bit over the top now. There's something about the last panel, which is just a close-up of her with a mask on, that reminds me of those Italian artists in the 50s and 60s that just had black and white art down to the most beautiful art form. And there's something going on there with that in that last panel that's really reminiscent of that for me. It's just glorious. I've read it through twice, and one, because the story's good and it's funny, and it's, you know, it's a great western, but also just because I can't get enough of the artwork. There's so much going on in each panel that you want to go back and see what you've missed and notice those little strokes of the pencil, or however it is that he does it. I don't know. It's just glorious. I haven't got enough positive things to say, so I'll move on to another artist that I'm a big fan of as well. So I think this is the last one, yeah, Surfer 6, which is also, I think this is the last part. This is like the dream team here. This is John Wagner, Colin McNeil, Chris Blythe, and Annie Parkhouse. So what I've written to this is that it seems to be some sort of a follow-up or follow-on from Chopper. There's a juvie on a surfboard. He's keeping the judges on his toes as he races around to get to Snarky's to pay off his dad's debt. When he gets there, the money's disappeared. He agrees to work for Snarky to protect his dad, and the judges take him away. So even though that's the last part and I don't really know what's going on, it was still really easy to follow. It was still accessible. Colin McNeil's artwork is just fabulous. I have several pages by Colin because his stuff's great. I've also got sketches. I just think he's an absolutely wonderful artist. I also if you've ever listened to me talk about the magazine or 2000 AD or anything before, I'm a huge fan of Chris Blythe as a colour artist. I just think he's wonderful. And again, those pinks. Usually I rave on about his reds. But there's this one panel. I'm gonna see if I can get you to see it while I fix my hair. Look at that pink, man, Howie. It's just glorious. just glorious. So yeah, it says end of book 1, so I'm going to assume there's going to be a book 2, which is great. The next thing is a pin-up by Rufus Dayglow, which is also for Gary Leach, and it's just wonderful. Really nice. And that's it. I'm not going to talk about Hawk the Slayer because I didn't read it because it's issue 5. I'm going to wait till it's collected and read the whole lot at once. Massive fan of Henry Flint's artwork, so I'm really looking forward to reading that all in one go. And that's it. That's the end of my first magazine in years, and I've loved every second of it. So even though I have struggled in places to know what's going on, it hasn't stopped us enjoying it. It hasn't stopped us being able to follow mostly what's going on. A couple of places a little bit beyond us, but nothing that makes us not want to pick it up again. So I'm really looking forward to getting the next one as well. Might try and get that in print so that I can talk about it a bit better, but we'll see. Fabulous. Really happy. I'm really happy to be back with the magazine after all this time. So yeah, before I move on to talk about what I'm listening to and what I'm reading, this came today and I haven't had a chance to look through it. I've had a flick, darlings, but I haven't had a good look. So it's probably going to be backwards. This is Masters of British Comic Art by David Roach, and it's just, I mean, it's so heavy, it's so weighty, and I haven't read anything yet. I have literally looked at the pictures because that's what we do. And honestly, I can't actually wait to read it. I can't wait to read it. It just is the most beautiful book. And I love the fact that this is massive artists gallery in the back. A lot of the artists I hadn't heard of, so that was, you know, that was nice to be made aware of people that I'm not aware of. But how exciting to see. Oh, I'm spelling on my stomach. Can you see that? Shirley Bellwood, which is a Misty. It says an unpublished title page, but oh, I'm such a fan of Misty. Loved Misty. Misty was the comic that really made me love comics. So she drew beautiful ladies. So yeah, what also was nice for me, I was like, at a certain point I was thinking, yeah, I've interviewed him on a panel, I've interviewed him one-on-one, and that was quite a nice feeling because there was quite a lot that I of artists that I have been lucky enough to talk to on panels or on podcasts or whatever. Anyway, so I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed flicking through it, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. Through. So yeah, I managed to get hold of this for seemed like a really reasonable amount of money, like 25 quid. So I don't know how, you know, where it is where you are, but I think that's a bargain. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. So that's that. What have I been reading? Well, I am still reading. For fuck's sake, I am jinxed. I am jinxed this evening. Jinxed. Yeah, I am still reading The Winter Guest by W.C. Ryan, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through it now. I'm just going to I found a better synopsis, and I'm just going to pull that up. About 3/4 of the way through it now, and I'm really enjoying it. It is by W.C. Ryan. I put my other phone on flight mode so it wouldn't buzz. Here we go. So I'm going to read this to you because that gives very little away. Okay. January 1921, though the Great War was over, in Ireland a new civil war was raging. The once grand Kilcolgan house, a crumbling bastion shrouded in sea mist, lies half empty and filled with ghosts, both real and imagined. The Prendervilles, the noble family within, coexisting only as the balance of their secret is kept. Then, when an IRA ambush goes terribly wrong, Maud Prenderville, eldest daughter of Lord Kilcolgan, is killed, leaving the family reeling. Yet the IRA column insists they left her alive and that someone else must have been responsible. Captain Tom Harkin, an IRA intelligence officer and Maud's former fiancé, is sent to investigate, becoming an unwelcome guest in this strange, gloomy household. Working undercover, Harkin must delve into the house's secrets and discover where, in this fractured, embattled town, each family member's allegiances truly lie. But Harkin, too, is haunted by the ghosts of the past and by his terrible experience on the battlefield. Can he find out the truth about Maud's death before the past and the strange surroundings overwhelm him? So that's an excellent synopsis, which is why I wanted to read it. And pretty much where I'm up to at the minute. So Harkin is there, staying at the house, and as it says, he's not particularly welcome. He's not particularly unwelcome either, but they're not overjoyed that he's there, and they're not being rude to him. But strange things are happening in the house. However, Harkin has quite plainly got very, very, very severe PTSD from his time in the war. And there's quite a lot of information about that. It's kept quite... It lets you imagine things rather than giving it to you on a plate, which always makes things worse. If you've got a good imagination, it's always worse if people leave it to you to imagine. And so, yeah, you have this strangeness where you don't know if what he's saying is real or if what he's saying is a symptom of his PTSD. And because it's sort of written from his point of view, you don't know either. So you have as much awareness as he does. So that makes it interesting because you can't trust him as a narrator sort of thing because he's unreliable, and therefore you don't know if what he's saying is real or not. So that's interesting, and that's an interesting way to make a ghost story. It's not the first time I've seen that. I've seen it before, but this is done really well. And also, because I don't know very much about that time in Irish history, it's really interesting getting into that. I've seen Derry Girls. I mean, I'm not completely uneducated, but yeah, it's interesting to see, and it's taken me a little while to work out who they're talking about when they're talking about like Oxies or like auxiliaries. I don't know, like who are they and whose side are they on, and I don't quite understand. So my lack of education really is, you think, holding us up. Really enjoying the book. It's really, really well written. It's intriguing. It's sympathetic to almost everybody. Like there's no real baddies. It's giving you a sort of balanced view of everybody, and that's quite an interesting way to do it as well. So I'm really, really invested now in finding out what happened to Maud. I want to know. And I like the sort of pseudo Agatha Christie-ness to the sort of investigating in the house where it happens sort of thing. I like that. So yes, I'm really enjoying that. So that's going well. The other thing that I've started listening to, because I still haven't finished Lord of the Rings, it's still on the back burner at the moment, is although I have read it, this is a book that I've reread a lot. I have never listened to it, so I chose to download Lords and Ladies by Terry Pratchett. It's one of my favourites. And this one is narrated by Indira Varma, Peter Serafinowicz, and Bill Nye. Bill Nye turns up a little bit. He's reading the footnotes, which he did in another one of the books that I listened to recently as well. Bill Nye did was it Hogfather? I think I re-listened to the Hogfather recently, and he was doing the footnotes in that as well, which is quite nice. I absolutely love this book because you get a bit of witches, who are my favourite, along with the guards. But if I had to choose, if you made us, if you forced us, it would be the witches. But you also get my favourite wizard pairing, which is Ponder Stibbins and Mr. Ridcully. Love them, love them. I love this whole book. It's based sort of a little bit about around the Midsummer Night's Dream, the Shakespeare play, but for me it's just like filled with these really, really, really strong kick-ass female characters who take no shit, and even when you think they are going to take some shit, they turn around and shock you in by not doing it. Each one of these characters, Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Ogg, Margaret Garlick, Agnes Nitt, even the maid only takes so much of Margaret's shit and then she kicks off as well. They're just wonderful. I'm not massively far into it yet, but it's a comfort listen because they're great narrators. I haven't heard it read aloud before, but I'm so utterly familiar with the book. It's just like pulling a duvet over yourself and snuggling in to listen to it. You know, it's really, really wonderful. I'm very particular with the Terry Pratchetts about. I have listened to a lot of them as well as read them, but I prefer there's lots of different narrators for those books. It's not like James Masters does all of Harry Dresden. It's not like that. So Stephen Briggs is my most favourite, although I'm loving this one, really, really loving it, but Stephen Briggs is my utter favourite. I cannot listen to any of them narrated by Tony Robinson. I just can't. We don't get on. He sets off my fight or flight. Him and Bill Oddie. They've done nothing. They seem like really nice people, but there's something about them just makes me want to run away, so I can't be doing with Tony Robinson. Nigel Planer does do a few, and he does narrate one of the witches' books, but his Margaret voice is Neil off The Young Ones. And now in my head, Margaret Garlick is just Neil. Don't bring me down and hassle me, Rick. Which I'm not sure is the correct, vibe. But there we go. Anyway, I'm really, really loving it. I'm about halfway through that one as well, I think. And that is what I am. I'm sorry about the rustling. I made notes. What I'm watching at the minute, I'm only watching a couple of things. I have not been feeling very well this last week. And when I'm not feeling very well, I don't like new things. Hence the old books. So what I wanted to watch was Doctor Who. I'd started a big rewatch of Doctor Who a few weeks ago when I was hungover because I wanted duvet telly. So I started watching New Who from the beginning. So we started with Rose and Christopher Eccleston, and I just finished watching series 3 this week. So in this last week, I've watched the 2-parter Human Nature and the Family of Blood. I've watched Blink, Utopia, The Sound of Drums, and the last of the Time Lords. Is that right? Is that all of them? I think so. Anyway, I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed revisiting these episodes, and I don't think I've actually watched any of these ones since they aired, which I'm quite shocked about. I must have watched them once with Tala, because what was season 3, 2007, so she would only be 1 then. She's definitely watched, so I must have only watched, so this, yeah, definitely must have watched them again with Tal. She was too little when they came out. Tal is my middle child, who's now 15. But it's been a long time, and you forget how good they are, particularly, and it's got to be said, and everyone thinks it and everybody knows it, but Blink stands up so well. It's an absolutely outstanding cast. They have the angels been overused a little bit since then, maybe, but going back to see them right at the beginning when you first see them and how flippin' terrifying they are, you forget, you know, you forget how scary they were. And sometimes when villains are overused, they lose some of that that initial terror. Unless it, say that Cybermen have been, I like to say Cybermen, like Patrick Troughton does. Not Cybermen, but Cybermen. Have obviously been used so many times, but when you can find new ways to make them scary, like there's that scene in David Tennant Who, when they're walking along the corridor and they're all sort of dead and they're not moving at all, and then one of them just moves its head a little bit. Fucking terrifying. So I think find new ways to make them scary, or just chilling. Oh god, I recently watched the Jodie Whittaker, what's it called, the one with Mary Shelley, House of something, with the man, the like half Cyberman with the creepy face. Fucking terrifying, pardon my French. Fucking terrifying. So scary. So scary. Why is he more scary than just the, oh god, terrifying. So my child refuses to watch Doctor Who with me anymore, and I made them, and they were like, yeah, okay, that was pretty fantastic actually, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, so sorry, to go back to it, yeah, blink. I went a little bit awry there, didn't I? I got excited. Fucking love Doctor Who. It's so good, and they're so scary. And they made them move a lot slower, so they make them move so fast later on that you don't get that build up of them just being in the window and did they move or did they not move? Did they move? Did it move? Is it a little bit closer? Is it? That is what is scary, because we all have that about statues and gargoyles, whatever. Did it? No, it was ridiculous. It's still there. So having them like that was fantastic. I loved it. Oh, that cast is so good. Everyone. The guy who played Billy, both young and old Billy. Oh, heartbreaking. Life is short. You are hot. I would have went out with him. I'd go out with you, Billy. Anyway, so yes, it's a lot of Doctor Who I've been watching. The only other thing I've been watching is, which is new to me actually, is Blacklist. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, if I mentioned it last week. I really love Blacklist. So it's just been renewed for a 10th series, and I started watching it about 6 months ago, and I'm up to series 8. So it's a binger, I think. Again, this is James Spader, who, sorry, but I would still, don't care how old he is now, he'd still get it. Which is my professional review of Blacklist, I think you'll find. I love Blacklist. It's one of those series where they get the cast, the ensemble really right, and then when you care about the cast, and Russell T Davies, going back to Doctor Who, Russell T Davies is pretty good at this, because man, I miss Jackie. Loved Jackie. I don't care about that. Love her. Anyway, how rich. I don't care about that. What was I saying? Yeah, if you care about the cast, then you're winning, because you're going to keep watching. You're going to keep watching because you want to know what happens to those people, because you care about them. I feel very much the same about Bones, which is one that I've rewatched a lot, and Elementary, which I rewatch quite often. So when I finished season 3 of Doctor Who, I had a hankering. I've been watching a lot of I was really Jodie there, wasn't I? Hankering. I've been rewatching Elementary, which I love, and I thought, I haven't rewatched Sherlock at all, I don't think. I might give that a go. And I watched up to the Irene Adler episode when I wasn't very well yesterday. All in the afternoon, all of it, all those episodes, because I really wasn't very well and didn't want to move. And I have to say, I still really love it. They look so young. Benedict Cumberbatch looks so young that I feel inappropriate, perving. I mean, I fight through it. I get my head down and I think, all right, old lady, no one has to know. It's our secret. I felt the same when I rewatched Top Gun. He's 24 in that. 24. I just can't. Maverick, however. Whoa. Anyway, this is obviously the pervy episode. I'm so sorry. I'm a disgrace. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Sherlock. I still really love it. I've got a lot of time for it. I do prefer elementary. If you put a gun to my head and said pick one, I think I'd pick elementary. I do. However, I really, really love Sherlock. It's very different. They play those characters very, very differently. Even little things which make a huge difference to the character and the portrayal of the character. For example, Sherlock, Johnny Lee Miller's Sherlock, has sex whenever he wants, however he wants, with twins. And he says that he has a need, he sorts it out, he can clear his head and move on. Whereas the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, they mention a few times, don't they? They call him and Mark Gatiss, they call him the Iceman and the Virgin. And they play on that a lot with Irene Adler. And the insinuation is that it's because he's unworldly. I don't think that's the right term. Is that how she manipulates him? It's a big difference in the portrayal of character. That there's lots of other things which are quite similar, but they're very, very different. And I think you can enjoy them each for what they are. But if I had to pick, I would it would definitely be elementary. I love elementary. I love again, it's down to the cast thing. I mean, there's a great cast in Sherlock. It's much smaller though, and elementary's got that. Oh, anyway, I'm blah 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 blah. I mean, I've really enjoyed rewatching them. That guy who plays the cabbie in the first one, he is an excellent actor, and his name has just gone right out of my head. And he is creepy as all shit in that, isn't he? Like, it's almost a shame. But now after Fleabag, as soon as Andrew Scott turns up, you're just thinking, hot figure. Maybe it takes the edge off his Moriarty a bit, because I'm just saying hot figure. Thank you, Fleabag. Yeah, so that's what I've been watching. I'm going to move on and talk about knitting a little bit. So if you're leaving this here, mwah, thanks for getting through this much of this nightmare recording. Well done, you get a badge. You fucking don't get a badge, but thanks for listening. I am going to talk about knitting, but just for a little bit. I mentioned last week that I'd been knitting some little vests, and I finished them, and I decided I like them so much, and they're so cool, and I get hot a lot, so I wanted to knit one that was slightly less revealing in the old bosomy area, so I can wear it for work. So I am knitting a pattern called Eastport Raglan, and it's basically just a top down, you cast on at the top, you knit this little bit of ribbon here, and then you do raglan increases here, so you're increasing here and here and here and here to make the t-shirt shape, I'll cast off the sleeves here and here, and then just knit the body down. It's like the simplest garment shape that you can make, I personally think. The pattern is free. I've gone off piste because I think it's made, it requires a double knitting or a DK weight yarn, wool, whatever your preference is. But I'm knitting it out of lace weight to make it really, it's still very, can you see my face through it? Very, very see-through and airy. And then really, really open gauge, because that's what I wanted for my taste. And so it goes, I'm saying it the right way up because I'm knitting it top down. That is the top, and it would sit like it's all bushed up on my knitting needles. So I'm knitting it on 4mm knitting needles, whereas usually you would knit lace weight on like a 2mm to 2.75mm. These are 4, so that's what's given me that lovely airy open gauge. And also, I mean, I need far less wool to knit it with. So it's sort of like, this is, you can just about see the raglan shaping going on here and here, and it'll just basically be a little t-shirt. I absolutely love this wool. It is Manos del Uraguay, and it is made up of, I don't know if you can see the lovely sheen in it there. It's 70% baby alpaca, 25% silk and 5% cashmere. It's absolutely beautiful. I've had this in my stash. This was a present from my lovely ex. And it was just too precious to use. You know, it was baby alpaca and silk and cashmere. Like, oh, I'll have to find the bestest, most specialist pattern ever before I knit with such a special yarn. And then I thought, you know what? This has sat in my stash for a minimum of 10 years now, and that is just ridiculous. Like, just use the good wool. And you know what? I'll wear this t-shirt all of the time, so it's not being wasted. Sometimes I get this in my head. I don't know if other knitters out there get the same, that you hoard and hold on to your beautiful yarns. And what I'm going to tell you is don't, because I got moths and they eat the best stuff. Use it just in case. Fucking moth bastards. You know, my cat. Do you think he chases? No, there's nothing. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's kettle dyed and it's purple and green Duke colours, Batman villain colours. So that's what I think of when I see these two colours together. But it's absolutely, it's so soft. It is so soft. It is beautiful to knit with, and I'm absolutely loving. I'm loving knitting it. I'm loving seeing the shape come out. I'm loving just feeling the yarn moving through my fingers. It's just beautiful. So I'm actually going quite slow because I'm enjoying it. I'm not in a rush to finish it. I don't have a deadline. I'm just really, really enjoying the process, because it's knitting around. You just knit round and round and round. There's to get stuck in stitch. There's no purling. It's just really, really easy. You just got to remember every other row to do 8 increases at your certain points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, isn't it? Yeah. One on the shoulder, one on the arm, one on the body, one on the body, one on the arm. Same on the back. 8 increases, and then it grows out till it fits the widest part of your upper body before you take it off. Well, is that the wider part of my upper body? Is this the widest part of my upper body? Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm just really, really enjoying it. It feels sort of meditative, if that's the word. The other thing I've been doing, she's speaking quickly because she realises the time, is I got my sewing machine out now. My sewing machine, I bought it in 1990 something, and I've used it about 4 times. I have no idea what I'm doing with it. And then I assumed that it wouldn't work about 2 years ago. No, just before lockdown, I bought a new sewing machine from John Lewis, and I have never been able to get that rat bastard to work. Not once, not ever, never. And then I took it in the shop and I said, this rat bastard does not work. And the woman put it on and went, seems to be working fine to me. And I was like, oh, I fucking hate you. Right, took it home, could not get it to work. Obviously, some sort of user error, but what I've done, I don't know. So my older one is a lot more complicated to even look at. However, just worked. I didn't have to oil it, even though it's sat in a cupboard for years. And I've just been really enjoying doing some sewing. So the first thing I did was I didn't bring the other one with us. I made a project bag and it was shit, right? I cut the fabric wrong, so it's on the side instead of like this way. It's landscape instead of portrait, but the picture is portrait. However, still pleased with it. It's going to have somebody's sports shoes in it. But then I made this one. So I followed a pattern, an online video tutorial by a woman who does a knitting / crochet / sewing vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, called Little Drops of Wonderful. And I really like to listen to her. She makes some interesting things and she's nice. Anyway, she put a tutorial up on how to make one of these bags. She calls them dodgy bags because she's all about the imperfections and not having to be perfect and just make it and enjoy it without giving yourself loads of pressure, which is right up my street. So I knit this bag and it's fully lined, look, with little froggies. And I made it and it's all lined. It's got a little box bottom so it'll stand up when it's full. It's nice and tall so I can get loads of knitting in it, and I have put these ribbons through so it will. Oh, how sexy is that? I'm so thrilled with it. I can't even tell you. It's the best thing I've ever sewed. Now, I blame Sewing Bee as well. I've been watching that too, but let's not go there. There is some places where like my stitching is way dodgy and you can see where I haven't caught properly and you can see the odd stitch there. However, don't fucking care. Look, it's worked. It hasn't got any holes in it and it's beautiful and it's fully lined, so I really don't care about that. Yeah. So then Ari, who's my youngest daughter, who's 4, said, oh, I like that material. I said, oh, shall I make you a skirt? She said yes. So we measured and we made her a skirt. Ha! Little skirt with elastic. Boing, boing. Will the little shit wear it? She won't even try it on. However, it was the easiest thing. It was easier than the project bag to make because basically you make a tube and you sew it up on one side and then you hem it in a wonky fashion like what I did, because straight lines and me, we've never met, and if we did meet, we have to be separated. We don't get on. Also, I had put the wrong colour thread in, so it's lovely and blue on this side, but it's bright yellow on this side because, yeah. But I'm so pleased with it. It's a little functioning little garment in cutest buggery material that my daughter will never, ever, ever wear. But I made it. I'm thrilled. So I made myself a skirt as well, and it's shit. I'm not even going to show it to you. But you know, you win some, you fucking lose some, and I'll still wear it because I am stubborn and I made it and I will wear it. It's too short, it's wonky, it doesn't fasten right. There's a really weird elastic thing going on in the back. I want to fucking wear it anyway. It's okay, I made that. And then every time, this is what I do. Have you all seen the film Spy? I fucking love that film. And there's a bit where Jason Statham appears wearing a suit that he wasn't wearing a moment ago. And Melissa McCarthy goes, where'd you get this suit? And he goes, fucking made it, didn't I? And which is my answer to anything. When people ask me, oh, that's nice, I go, I fucking made it, didn't I? And I think I'm hilarious. It's not that hilarious if they've never seen the film and they just think you're rude, but you know, again, you win some, you lose some. And on that, I think I've talked enough. I've shouted at my cat enough. I'll attempt to put some links and stuff in the description box, but I'll I'm not guaranteeing that. I'll try and remember. If you do want to do the YouTube thing and like and subscribe, I would be very grateful, and hopefully I shall do this again soon. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you've got any questions you want to ask us, you can just pop them down there below as well. Okay, see ya. Bye.